Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. We are still working on getting our autonomy up, and we're still working on enacting private schools. I think the best way we're going to be able to do this is to reduce our relations with our overlord. And that's just going to have to be what it is. We're going to have to play the long game here because relations are... Well, high relations are less effective. We can also reduce our economic dependence, but our economic dependence is pretty low. We're not getting that much. We're not getting that much infamy. Brain friends. We're not getting that much autonomy loss from having not much of an independent economy. For having a very independent economy. Alright, there's the war. Again, not my business. Not something I need to really care about. I can increase the size of my navy. In fact, I think that's going to be a good idea in the medium term. That's just so that we can do a little bit of naval invading without having a problem. So here we go, increasing the size of the construction sectors again. And we are getting our faster build speed from Tata Steel. Maximum weekly construction progress. Jammu and Kashmir are damaging relations. Well, that's unfortunate. Your liberty desire is going down. Relations are neutral. Let's improve them. Jammu and Kashmir is one of our 21-gun salute states, so we should be having good relations. I'm not sure why they want to be independent. If you get independent, you'll just get eaten by China. I know how this goes. It seems we've built up our construction sectors, and oh, there we go. Alright, so there's rubber mastication. That's what lets us build rubber plants. So let's go ahead and build those in Tenasserim. That's wood. So we'll have law debate success. Excellent. And that'll just give us the ability to build up as much rubber as we need to once rubber demand starts to really be kicked off in the empire itself, and that'll be fine. Standard of living sucks in Malaya, but I don't really hold enough of this territory to be able to do anything about that. So it just is what it is. We are building up these naval bases. Maybe I'll draw the Journal of Philosophical Studies. Members of the philosophy department... Sorry, give me a second here. Alright. Members of the philosophy department from the University of West Bengal have signed a formal petition for government funding of their next project, a scientific journal. With the foundation of our philosophical studies, we welcome a new era in the scrutiny of the mind, an era of rigorous research and serious experimentation, an era of scientific collaboration among our foreign colleagues, a safe haven in which all investigations pertaining to this topic can be shared. We have no resources for this. 5% of academics in West Bengal become more radical. Can't do that. Or fund this journal. 10% prestige, increased costs. I'll fund the journal. I can't really afford that level of costs, but it simply is what it is. I've got to do it. Alright, and now we've got we're constructing at a good clip, and of course it's costing us money, but we've got a huge pile of gold in the reserve, so I'm not really worried about that. Investment pool is still increasing at a reasonable size. Private sector is continuing to build stuff, so that is what I want. Bajralak Swadesh Deactivated. Oh, excellent. They're chilling. They're chilling today. That's good. Our number of radicals is very slowly going down, which is good, especially among the civil servants, who I really would like to be happy. Private schools is going to increase their power as well, so hopefully that's not going to be too much of a problem. Did Britain go with tech for their power block? They didn't. They went with militarized industry. There's Los Altos started out. Karna left the British Empire. Okay, neat. Inefficient agriculture. The government of India have started complaining about the existence of subsistence farms in the Punjab hills, stating that their undeniable inefficiency should be immediately addressed. The fertile soil of our people suffers, relegated to tired and callous hands, too exhausted from manual labor to perform at a decent level, too poor to be able to use more advanced tools that would make them more profitable. This industry is just a useless investment. Let me see, where are they in terms of loyalty? They're doing pretty okay. We should follow their advice. I don't want to mess around with that. Hasn't meaningfully impacted my number of radicals, so that's... I'm feeling pretty good about that. Exile from Persia. Neat. Carpet discovered in Chiapas. Twice. Alright. Burma's liberty desire is going down. I think it's time to reduce Bahawalpur's autonomy. Ceylon is improving relations. Cool. Gold in the Yukon territory. Alright, and I can't participate in this diplomatic play because I don't have diplomatic autonomy as a colony. I need to get myself up to being a dominion before I can have that. Harvest conditions started. Hailstorm in Gibraltar. Alright, well that's not going to affect too much. Russia's spreading technology in Bahrain. French Republic accepted an offer to host an embassy from Selangor. Sikkim is damaging relations. Princely state opposes overlord. The Nawab of Bahawalpur has made intentions known that Bahawalpur is seeking independence from the British Raj. Alright, well, your liberty desire is going down, so I'm not too worried about that. Sikkim, you're rebellious, but your liberty desire is going down. They've got a lot of political lobbies that are against being in the Raj, but I think they'll be fine. I think it'll be fine. I'm not too worried about Sikkim, to be completely honest. Bhutan is a protectorate there. Liberty desire is going way down. They're dependent on us economically. We're still doing really well financially. I could increase the size of the construction sector further. I have built up my navy, although it's not actually increasing in size at a rate that I would like it to be, but that's just sort of the nature of the beast at this time. I think that's being impacted significantly by the caste system. The reduced qualification growth is a pretty hard time. Ooh, Russia's improving relations. That's nice. Happy to hear about that. So what else do we need? We're a little bit short on convoys, so I think that's something we're going to have to try and build up. Let me see. I think Carnatic is a place that we can focus growth for a little while. So we'll build some port facilities there. We're maxed out on ports in Bombay. And Northern Sirkar, so we can definitely build up port facilities here. So let me see. What other things are... The market needs coal. The market needs coal and it needs it bad. So we'll build up coal resources where we've got them available. Which is admittedly not that many places, it seems like. Oh, we got a bunch in Bombay. A bunch. We got some in Bombay. Do we have the infrastructure? We surely do. Stealing from the crown. Deliberations have started in the train robbery trial, where the accused revolutionaries are charged with robbery and murder. The roar of the crowd gathered outside the courtroom warms the hearts of the defendants. The same roar makes it hard to hear the prosecution. Relentless, he strives on. Hijacking, possession of illegal firearms, and murder. These in itself are terrible acts, Your Honor. But these shameless men did them all, only to commit an even more heinous crime. They tried to steal from the very crown that cares for them. The crowd outside would call them heroes, but I believe the law would call them traitors. Make an example, interrogate them, extra authority. 10% of Marathi pops in the central provinces become more radical. Or follow due process and order, 5 legitimacy, 5% of Marathi pops in the British Indian central provinces becomes more radical. I'm going to follow due process and order. 5 legitimacy is great. 10% authority I can live without. I'm deep. I've got so much authority. Authority is not even a resource at this point. Backroom dealings exposed. Prominent members of the government of India, outspoken supporters of private schools, and close allies of Charles Canning, the inventor of canning, have been exposed in a corruption scandal, having exchanged political favors for personal gifts. By the way, this Charles Canning is the inventor of canning thing is a gag. I realized I should probably come clean about that, but I'm not going to sit here and say he's not the inventor of canning. I actually don't know. It's entirely possible that Charles Canning was the inventor of canning. That Charles Canning invented the can and named the process of putting food in it canning. But I can neither confirm nor deny that. I suspect it's not true, and the reason I suspect it's not true is because I made it up. Alright, anyway, now that we're clearing up fake news and historical inaccuracies, or possible historical inaccuracies, let's get going with the flavor text. One aid was all it took. One boy squeezing acne from his face in the right place at the right time to overhear the howling laughter, smell the rich tobacco blend, and spot Charles Canning, the inventor of Canning's new golden cufflinks. One honest fellow's word to the right ears, and it was all uncovered. So, such is the nature of politics, reduce enactment chance. Throw them to the wolves who must clean up this mess. Reduce bureaucracy, slightly reduce enactment chance, or we can gain some benefit by participating ourselves, reduce enactment time, slightly reduce bureaucracy, 1 setback. I'm going to throw them to the wolves. I can take the reduced bureaucracy, that's not that big of a deal. Not that big of a deal at all. So, let's see. Movements are very solidly, very chill. We got a reformist movement. We could theoretically go to homesteading. That would be something that would offer some benefits to me overall. All right, let me see. What other market things? We need iron. We need a lot of iron, in fact. So let's see. Oh, I've got coal capacity in East Bengal that I can build up. Let me see. Iron. Ooh, I got a lot of coal capacity in Assam as well. So we'll build some of that up. Wow, Bihar has huge coal mine capacity. We'll build up those iron mines. That's probably going to put us low on infrastructure. So I'm going to build a few more levels of railways in Bihar to get that started. And what we'll do is we'll throw those at the top of the queue to make sure that they're ready in good time. We don't need them before the ports. There's a smarter way to do this, actually. But I'm not going to do it. Instead, I'll do something much dumber. Yeah, no, I'll do that. I'll do that. Perfect. And then I'll put half of these below the other side. Hey, there's private schools. And Banjar improving relations. Excellent. Utilitarian movement organizes in British Indian Mysore. Organizers affiliated with the utilitarian movement have embarked on a focused campaign to inspire support for public schools in British Indian Mysore. Residents of every region in the world like to say that their home has a long and unique history of tight-knit community. The organizer almost agreed. The problem was, of course, that said community often did not extend to outsiders. He'd been thrown out on his ear more times than he could count, but he persisted nonetheless. If he could introduce the right phrase into the right circles, perhaps even an idea that had been rejected out of hand at first, would begin to find purchase. There are plenty of willing ears in British Indian Mysore, increased political movement, pop attraction for the utilitarian movement, increased political strength. In Mysore, increased radicals from political movements. Or they must be concerned with far more grounded things. The movement doesn't get stronger, and half the other modifiers. I'm going to go with the first one. I think the utilitarian movement being stronger is generally better. So Mysore is just this tiny territory. So that's actually not that many people. Well, it's 1.8 million people. So, you know, hopefully that'll actually lead to some kind of increase in the size of the utilitarian movement, because I like the utilitarian movement. Hydraulic cranes. Excellent. That is very good. That means we don't need to research that. So we'll finish out triage, and then we'll get started on breech-loading artillery. Opium addiction. The Oria people are experiencing severe effects of opium addiction. The use and abuse of the substance is spread throughout British Indian Oud. The opium eater lies under the weight of incubus and nightmare. He lies in sight of all that he would fain perform, just as a man forcibly confined to his bed by the mortal languor of a relaxing disease, who is compelled to witness injury or outrage offered to some object of his tenderest love. He curses the spells which chain him down from motion. He would but lay down his life, if he could but get up and walk. But he is powerless as an infant, cannot even attempt to rise. Tragic. Extra mortality, reduced standard of living. Oh, that's bad. Oh, gnarly. The Zamindars have been significantly weakened by the replacement of their previous leader, Mukunda Deva Das, with a new guy, a slaver, Govind Tiwari. Interesting. Badulaks are still strong. I can get up to free trade. I can't get protectionism, sadly. Alright. Let's take a look at tech. So we're going to need breech-loading artillery. After that, do we want to keep banging away at military? I don't think so. Tier 3 in military's got a lot of things that, like, will very slowly increase the capacity of your army to do things, but none of it's all that necessary. Hand-cranked machine gun is nice. Military statistics is nice. Telegraph is only Midland, though. I think we should focus on production. So what do we need from Tier 3 in production? Steel railway cars is always nice to have, but that's already spreading. Ooh, no. Actually, society. Society is what we need, because I want to get to steel frame buildings. We're going to need to do a lot of things. Pharmaceuticals will be done by the time we're here. We don't have egalitarianism yet. That's a little bit of a shock, actually. I'll do organized sports. I'll do joint stock companies. I'll do... How much of a problem is it going to be for me if I just knocked straight out into egalitarianism and labor movement? I think that's going to be the right call. After that, we'll do realism. Or, that's not. Yeah, that'll be fine. Realism, quinine, postal savings, and then finally we'll queue in steel frame buildings. So we're just kind of doing a sweep of the tier 2s in social, and that'll kind of be what it is. Now we could build a little bit in Bhutan, and that would increase their dependence on us. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We'll build up some of their industry. And then Sikkim will do the same. Not much they can build. We'll build a furniture manufactory and a textile mill. That'll be nice. And let's do a quick pass through the subjects just to make sure everyone's... Yep, it looks like everyone's basically still in low liberty desire. That's very good for me. I'm not worried about that one bit. Jammu and Kashmir is a little high, but they're doing fine. I am still holding relations with them. Hyderabad is going down, which is good. Chitral is going down. Burma is for sure going down. They've been going up because I've been increasing the autonomy of the other places, or reducing the autonomy of the other places, but that is what it is. Alright. Oh, City of Plenty. The most prominent members of Bombay high society have been seen organizing luxurious parties in the new and lavish urban buildings. Marble walls, shimmering stone. The noise of people coming and going brings the city back to life when we didn't even know it was dead. Tall buildings cover the sunsets, kids play with bricks, smoke blends with the clouds, and a distant bell announces the next train. Progress is coming. Let them celebrate. 10% more loyalists, or the party will never end. 25% more loyalists. Increased minimum expected standard of living for the upper strata. I'll do the second one. Shazam. So that changed my... Yeah, there we go. That's a good chunk. Nice. Rubber discovered in Nicaragua. Excellent. And a bunch of other places as well. So I think from here... let me see. We're still increasing iron output. Iron was really expensive for a second, but it's not anymore? Where's iron? Have I simply failed to locate it? Yeah, here we go. No, iron is still pretty expensive. I got a lot of places with low market access. Can't afford their own railways, I suppose. I think... Well, that's right. I can change my my subjects' laws. I'm not going to, but I could. It's a thing I have the capacity to do. Alright, railways are almost done, so I'm going to throw the rest of the coal mines at the bottom of the queue so that I can start getting these iron mines built up. And then after that, I think my goal was for a long time going to be to increase my paper supply. And I think I'm going to continue banging away at that. Because that's going to allow me to increase my amount of bureaucracy really significantly, and that's going to be good for my overall health as a nation. Gosh, I've got a lot of silk plantation capacity in here in Carnatic. I could also build up that. What is infrastructure like? Infrastructure is really good. Do I have a bunch of... Ooh, I've got a bunch of iron mines. That's interesting. I'm going to build up silk plantations, because that's an unbelievable number of silk plantations. The British Indian Pegu Political Union. Organizers affiliated with the utilitarian movement have founded an organization devoted to fostering popular participation in politics in the British Indian Pegu region. The direct cause of our land's woes, the speaker proclaimed, is the concentration of power within a class which is predisposed to idleness and conspiracy. It is our duty, then, to collect the efforts of the industrious classes against their manipulations, and bring them to a great moral confrontation, a contest of political truth and right against political despoliation and wrong. It was a good sentiment, though one, thought one listener, if one was predisposed to charity. If one was not, you dreaded to think how poorly one could interpret such a conspiracy. The people have begun to make themselves heard. Stronger utilitarian movement, stronger pop strength in Pegu. Or order this shudder before it grows out of control. Middle and lower stardom pops become more radical in Pegu. I'm going to go with the top one. I think, again, a stronger utilitarian movement is good. Alright, anyway, what I was going to... Yes, there's resources in Africa. No one could have foreseen this. What I was going to do before I got into this is I was going to build up some paper mills. Where's paper mills? Here we go. Hey, there's triage. Wonderful. I think we'll do 20 levels of paper mills. That's going to be a lot of paper mills, but it's going to be valuable. Let me see. Before I forget, we'll activate triage in our mobilization options to make things easier. Do I activate rail transport? I think yes, actually. I know this is going to make these significantly more expensive, but faster movement is of critical importance for the military health of our nation. Kind of fluctuating cash balance, but I'm feeling overall pretty good about our ability to continue doing all the things we wish to do, so, you know, I'm not worried about it. Getting these iron mines built. Once again, we're building individual buildings really fast, but we're not building that many buildings at a time. With that having been said, our economy is huge and will continue to grow. So and that extra maximum weekly construction progress is sort of concentrating our construction. That's going to be something that's overall going to be really, really useful in the longest term, because once we're sort of a huge mega power, we'll be able to do what we need to do more efficiently. Ooh, interesting. Reduced disease outbreak harvest condition impact from pharmaceuticals. That's fun. I think that might also give us the ability to get a medical institution running. We could do a private medical system. No one's going to be against that compared to none. If I can get corporatism, that would make... Yeah, I think we're going to throw corporatism in on the end here. That's going to make the Hindu priesthood support private healthcare, and that's going to make passing that a lot easier. Do I want to pass private healthcare now, though? I don't think so. Again, I could go to colonial exploitation. I think that's just generally a terrible idea, though. Yeah, the standards of living are pretty low, especially in Malaya. But again, Malaya doesn't have the population. Malaya's going to be in a population crisis for a long time, I think. Standard of livings are kind of flat. I'm trying to increase the size of my economy, but I am also increasing I'm building up a lot of resource industry, which doesn't necessarily help all that much with that. How much is the private sector building right now? Private sector's got 1.42 mil in the construction queue. They're still building stuff up. It's still acting properly, so hopefully that will continue. Gosh, I've got so many pages of government construction. I'm tempted to increase the size of the construction sector again. Interesting. We'll see. We'll see what becomes of that. Well, that's right, we had in Italy. That almost never happens. And they're a democratic republic. That's wild. Fausto Ceccarini. I think that's how that's pronounced. Interesting. An authoritarian aligned with the Catholic Church. Ooh, and there's rubber in Ceylon. There's rubber in Ceylon twice. Excellent. Excellent. So... yeah, I think the doctrine of lapse only applies while you're the British East India Company, which I definitely should have taken advantage of. But on the other hand, I wanted to be maximally stable. I think I could have allowed the presidencies to get a lot less stable during that in order to get significant advantages in terms of doing things like keeping hold of my newly conquered territories. But I wanted to kind of play it safe and play it chill, and that's kind of my vibe. Although, I sure wish I could steal a chunk of Portugal. Just a wee bit of Portugal. Just enough Portugal that I could finish out my event. I'm going to unpin this event because it doesn't seem like I can actually complete it. Do I have any other journal entries? Let me see. Gwailor wanted to be independent, right? Or someone did? I'm not sure. Anyway, it is what it is. What else? So what are my long-term goals? I want to expand into Southeast Asia. I want to do a little bit more expansion to get all of sort of modern de jure Pakistan into my territory, which I think I do have at this stage. Because I think all of this, I don't think I think I might... No, I think Kabulistan is Afghanistan. I think I've actually got the modern Pakistan-Afghanistan border here. So I'm good over there. I'd love to get these areas back, but I don't think I necessarily can. Great Britain often takes control of Denmark as a puppet state, so we'll see kind of how that goes, or someone often does. Ooh, nice breastplate. King Christian von Oldenburg. Do you have an heir? Yes, Abraham von Lincoln. Gosh, look at that face. But yeah, I think my primary avenues of expansion are southeastward. The Maldives are part of Great Britain. Yes, they are. Alright, so I'm not worried about that. And then, obviously, there's annexing the princely states, which I do eventually want to be able to do once I get my liberty desire up, once I'm able to get my liberty desire up, which will happen slowly as I increase the size of my economy and generally make things easier. I think the right path is going to be to start incorporating more of my territories. And that's going to be a long, slow, and probably painful process. But it is what it is. But that even said, some of these I can steal states if they've got more than one state in them. So I might be able to do more that way. The Vizagapatam Advocate. An explicitly partisan newspaper founded by members of the modernization movement in Vizagapatam has published its first issue. Between advertisements and political cartoons, it hosts a ruthless critique of government policy. There was a certain brilliance to it. By printing it on the cheapest paper, by skimping on ink, by flooding it with advertisements and large text, one could produce a profitable paper for only a penny per copy, whilst its competitors sold for 5 to 10 times that amount. By making that paper relentlessly and shamelessly endorse a certain viewpoint, one could have every working person in their city aware of it by evening. If one's competitors refused to stoop that low, they would become responsible for their own suffocation. How long can a partisan newspaper last? Increased strength for the modernization movement? Or is that so? Deny them a printing license. More radical modernization movement. I think strength is better for that movement than radicalization at this time. So that's what we're going to give them. Where am I in the prestige rankings? In the prestige rankings. 892. I'm above 1/3 of Great Britain, but very nearly. So have they just completely gotten rid of... Oh my goodness, that's not ideal. What happened? Oh, their infamy went down. Have they just completely gotten rid of the prestige thing? I can't believe this. Paradox, how could you do this to me? Paradox, I'm freaking... I just started my run as a vassal for the first time. I can't believe you've done this. Alright, so there are ways that I could, like, so like with, Garwal over here, I could steal Agra. Or I could steal the Punjab Hills, but I don't think both. Which is their capital? Agra's their capital, so do I have the ability as their overlord to take... I can only take the Punjab Hills. Alright, so that's interesting. And that'll give me a little infamy. Okay, alright. So there are some options here. Unless it's only that one subject. Which it might be. Yeah, okay, well, might as well do it now then. So increase Liberty Desire in Garwal by 48. We'll do it. Ah, they're fine. They're fine. They're completely dependent on us politically. So that means Punjab Hills is mashed together now. I'm going to start incorporating. And again, the goal of this is I want to increase my bureaucratic capacity. So incorporating states slowly increases my tax base. And I have a lot of capacity to flex bureaucratically because I'm not on the highest production method for my bureaucracy yet, and it's going to take me a long time before I get there. And the reason I'm doing that is because... throw this coal mine at the top. I'm going to throw the rest of these below, because I want to get those paper mills under construction. Because getting those paper mills under construction will fund the increasing of the size of my bureaucracy, which will in turn allow me to increase my production methods of my bureaucratic centers without overdue increase in costs. So that's kind of the shape of what I'm currently doing to increase the size of my everythings. Now, Delhi is not a split state. I am holding Rajputana. Rajputana is a split state. So, do I have the ability to steal? No, I can only grant. Ah, that's unfortunate. But it is what it is. Anyway, that is all we've got time for this episode. My nerds, I've had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you on the other side.